So, Wednesday, 0-0 away against Charlton. I think it's a good start. Unspectacular, but it's a clean sheet. And that was a game that, on paper, with where they are in terms of their rebuilding, ahead of us, you probably would have thought, oh, could have come unstuck there. So, clean sheet. That's 2 clean sheets if you include the open play in the cup game against Huddersfield. So, solid at the back. Like the goalkeeper. Need a little bit more going forward, but overall that's a solid start, and it's a foundation to build on, isn't it? That's a good result, I think. Doncaster to come at home and get a win there. I think that's a really good start for us. Bit concerned about maybe going forward a little bit. That's not clicked yet, but as I said before the game, these things take time to gel, you know. It's an old cliche, ain't it? It's easier to defend than it is to attack. And Canberra's only just in the door. He's been in, 5 days? Gregory's still yet to be in the squad. Obviously, probably a bit of catching up to do with his pre-season work. And it takes time to gel and get them little partnerships and understandings in your attacking play, whereas when you're defending, it's a different set of circumstances, and it's easier to build them partnerships, I think. And speaking of which, I think they've been fantastic. Hutchinson and Iorfa, I thought the seeds were there, and they've really grown. These 2 games, I think they've looked really good as a pair. Hutchinson's just got that experience and understanding, and Iorfa is worth his weight in gold. Not just for his aerial presence at the back, because I thought once him and Hutchinson swapped and Iorfa started dealing with that Stockley, I thought we really got to grips with him. But he's a threat in the other box in the air as well, and he's got that recovery pace. And any back forward, if you've got that player with the pace, that if you do get turned round, you know that they're going to get there first. Similar to what we had with Des Walker those years ago. It's a huge weapon. His contract's up for renewal at the end of the season, so I hope, beyond hope, that they're already working on that and trying to get him tied down to a new deal. I thought they were really good. Good to see Jack Hunt back. And I'll be honest with you, I thought he put more delivery in that first half yesterday than probably his entire last season at Hillsborough, when we weren't really venturing above halfway line. So I think he's going to be a really good addition. I like the lad Adeniran in midfield. I like him most because he's ours. He's young and he's ours, and because I think he's got some real potential. Thought he faded a bit second half. Although maybe that's more to do with the fact that every time he did seem to be powering on with balls, somebody fouled him. There was a lot of that yesterday. It was a niggly 3rd division sort of game, and we're going to have to get used to that. Especially younger players who might not have had a great deal of league football. That's something they're going to have to get accustomed to. I thought Bannon was terrific. There's always a question mark when a player like that, you know, he's quite small, diminutive player, ball player. There's always some question marks. Oh, can he hack it when you drop down into this rough and tumble division? I thought he was superb. I thought he would have our best chance of carving something open. And he's not afraid of getting stuck in and doing dirty work, and not intimidated in the slightest. So I think that's a bit of a myth. I think he was really good. I hope big Callum Paterson's alright. That was a nasty injury he got there. I'd like to see it again. I haven't seen it on the highlights. It's been cut. And the TV cameras, perhaps because of what happened with Ericsson in the summer, have been a bit unwilling to, they were unwilling to show anything. But that Stockley just got a bit of a guilty look on his mug when they showed his face. So I'd like to see that again. Then Canberra come on. He did. He made some decent runs actually. Got flagged offside a handful of times, but he got flagged offside because he were moving. So many times I've seen players stood around forwards, especially hands on hips, you know, on halfway line. But he was actually looking to get in. So a couple of times with an earlier ball, I think we might have found him. So I think there's something to come from him. It's quite a big unit actually. I didn't realise how big he was till I saw him. It's only when you see him in perspective to other players, I realise he could be a real handful, this season. And in this division, you need a striker who's going to be a bit of an handful, you know. Green, yeah. It just looks a bit lost at the minute. I do think he's a left-sider. I know he's right foot. I do think he's a left-sided player. And I do wonder if at some stage Darren Moore might say, yeah, go on to the other side. Because he just looks a bit short of confidence on right for me. But we'll see how he gets on. Other news today is apparently Liam Palmer has been linked with a move to Nottingham Forest. Well, if they do, they can pay for him, as far as I'm concerned. Not everybody's cup of tea, you know, and I'm not sentimental. I'm not going to say, oh, he's been here since he was a kid, so he's got to stay. But he's very versatile, you know. For me, his best performances have been at left back. I don't know if that's because he has to concentrate more. There might be something in that. But he can play left back, right back. In fact, he'll be the cover right back if anything, you know, if Hunt gets suspended or anything. So that's got to be worked into thinking. And of course, he can play centre half if we get 2 or 3 at the back or anything like that. So his versatility is very useful. And so I think if you are letting a player like that go, you've got to make sure you've got covered in all the other positions. Which I think we have at centre half and left back with this Gibson coming in on loan. But right back, that area, unless Moore's got someone in mind or there's one of the kids that he particularly trusts to be an understudy, I think they might have to think twice. There is a young right back, but there's been talk about him going out on loan, so I think it'll all hinge around that maybe. But if he does go, yeah, there'd have to be a fee, surely. But again, another one in his last year of his contract, so if he's not going, probably needs a deal, because again, we don't want to find ourselves in that situation of people walking for nothing at the end. I'm rambling on about other stuff. This is going to be a match review, but good performance. I thought we were very solid at the back against a rough and tumble team. Plenty of niggling fouls and aerial bombardment to deal with, and we dealt with it. So good foundations, a good footing. And it might be a bit of an old cliche, but they always used to say, didn't they? Win your own games and nick points away from home, and that'll see you in good stead. And that's a really good point away from home, because I do think Charlton will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. So it's all positive from me. Really impressed. We could do some more attacking wise, but like I said, those attacking players take a little bit longer to gel. You know, sometimes. Especially since it's not like the old days when you've got a traditional front pairing. When you had them traditional front pairings, they play all pre-season and they build up that little understanding. But with a modern game where you're playing 1 up front or 3 up front or whatever, and different attributes that players have got, and sometimes a lot of chopping and changing of personnel, it can take a while for them things to gel. Canberra's not been in the door a week. You know, he's Swiss, so he's obviously having to adapt to England as well. Gregory's only been signed 48 hours, but I do think they've all got a part to play, and I think if things do click, I think we can really get at teams in this division, and especially with that solidity at the back. I do like Peacock Farrell. Some people saying he should catch more. He did punch a lot yesterday, but there were strong punches, you know. He weren't flapping him out back to centre forward and have another go. He were really getting him, you know, 15, 20 yards outside box, so no problem with punching. I did see a very interesting interview with Kevin Pressman on Alan Biggs's channel about maybe 2 years ago. And he was on about coaching young goalkeepers. And he was saying, they tell them not to catch now. They tell them to punch because the movement of these new lightweight balls, they move at the last minute. And he said there's a real danger of people having their fingers broken, trying to catch them when they move at the last second. So that was interesting. But overall, I like him. I like his command of the box. And I'm not saying it's deliberate, but just after Paterson got taken off, Peacock did come out and flatten that Stockley coming for the ball. And I I did wonder if he's just got a little bit of that in his makeup as well, which if he has, great, I've no problem with that. I like people who are all for the team and sticking up for the mate, so that's good. So yeah, Wednesday 0, Charlton 0. Good point on the road. Fans back in. 2,700 Wednesday fans down there. Great backing. And a really good start, a really good foundation. And now we get ready for Doncaster, and the season can really kick on from there. So win them home games, nick stuff away from home. I think it'll be a really good season for us.